Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. We're
Good morning.
seeing our colleagues joining us. Good morning to all of you. I am Dr. Juliet Jones. Many of you would know me by now. And we welcome you to this orientation session. It's not a full-fledged webinar or interactive virtual workshop that we sometimes do. It is simply an orientation session. So please bear that in mind. That has implications for time. We're not going to keep you here very, very long this morning, but we are very happy to be able to interact with you. Thank you so much for joining us. And before we get going to have a look at the presentation, I'll just take a quick opportunity to mention and to acknowledge my director of our Settle Hair, Dr. Leroy Hill. We also have, thank you, Dr. Hill, for this continued support. We have also Mr. Mark Garcia, Mr. Javed Mohammed, and Mr. Randy Duku. I don't know what I would do with these fine, fine gentlemen. So they're always supporting, and I'm happy that they are here to support. So let's get right into it. Others will join as we go along. That's okay. So we want to have a quick look at this whole concept of peer observation. Before we get into the remaining slides, what are our outcomes for this morning's session? We want to give you an opportunity to have a quick look to introduce you to the UWI-STA peer observation and feedback framework. We also want to assist you in identifying characteristics of effective peer observation. The process itself will be explained during this orientation. You will also have an opportunity to quickly compare peer observation instruments. And most importantly, this is the main focus of today's orientation, give you an opportunity to experience, to get your feet wet, to get a sense of what planning for effective peer observation and feedback involves. This is what you will be focusing on when it's time for you to do this task later on. When we get to midway into the session, we're going to be putting you into some breakout rooms. So take a quick snapshot of this with your phones or screenshot and save it so that when you get into your breakout rooms later on during the orientation session, you already have a sense of what you are required to do. Is everyone clear about that?
Yes.
So,
yes, we are.
thank you. Thank you for responding. Because time is so limited, we are not able to go for 2-3 hours. We have to keep the unmuting of the mics to a minimum. Usually we allow for a lot of talk, but you do get to talk a lot inside of the group activity later on and during your group presentations. So to me, no session is a good session unless the participants have an opportunity to dialogue. So you will have opportunity to dialogue, just not at length during this session today, as we usually do. So have a look at this video. It's not very long. Hey, John. John.
How are you looking so down? This is not like you.
Oh,
You're
folks,
normally
you're
the
not
life
hearing
of.
it. So we'll,
We're
yeah,
hearing,
we'll
we're
stop
hearing,
sharing.
we're
Oh,
hearing.
I can hear it. Yeah.
You're hearing it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
thank
we
you.
are.
We thought that we did not enable sound. Yes, thank you. So I'll go back to the beginning. A colleague told me sound wasn't being heard, but others have confirmed. So thank you so much for that.
Okay, so we are not seeing the video, just in case you have it running. We are not actually
Yes.
seeing the video now.
We're still just
Okay.
seeing you.
So Mark is coming. I'll just move on if the video isn't playing. When we checked the presentation, everything was playing, but
you will have to share the screen again because
okay,
you had stopped.
that's Dr.
Yeah,
Hill.
yeah.
Okay. Please confirm if you're seeing everything now and hearing. You'll hear in just a little while. Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Hey, John.
Yes, we can see and hear.
Excellent.
How are you looking
Thank
so
you.
down? This is not like you. You're normally the life of the party, the life of the office. What's wrong?
Emily, I don't know what to do. I just received the student evaluations, and it seems like I'm not meeting their needs. It's just frustrating. Like, these are some of the comments I printed because it's online, but it's just disheartening, that they are not satisfied. I mean, like, I give out so much, and to see this, it's.
I printed mine too. And like you, some of the evaluations are not what I might have expected or hoped for, because I know we work really, really hard.
Exactly.
So I know it seems unfair, but there are other aspects of feedback that we can use to gauge how we are performing as teachers.
But Emily, I can't help but feel like I am failing as a teacher, as an educator. Like, I try my best. I give my all into what I do. And to see that they are not happy with my effort is demotivating,
Don't feel so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, John. I have been working with you for many years, and I know how excellent you are as a teacher. The thing is, though, in the realm of teaching and learning, we always continue to learn. Even as teachers, there's always room to do something better, to get on the cutting edge of new innovations in teaching and learning. So don't beat up yourself. So I am telling myself this as well, because negative comments, they can sting, yes, but this is not the 100% reflection of what we do.
But I guess maybe you're right, but maybe I should focus more on the positive feedback and the progress that I've seen in the students throughout the semester. But it's hard not to dwell on the negative comments, like you see it and it's like, they're there,
The thing is, teaching is an art, teaching is a science, and we evolve as practitioners. We're constantly evolving, constantly adapting our teaching methods. But what I really, really admire you for is that you always desire to improve your craft. That is an excellent characteristic to have as an educator.
Well, I guess you're right. Maybe I need to shift my mindset a little bit to these evaluations, I guess, like as an opportunity to grow, maybe.
True.
as much as I don't really want to hear or see these comments, you know, they might be necessary for my improvement.
But you see, you're not alone. Look, I have some really good feedback, evaluations, and some not too hot as all that.
To compare mine to yours, eh?
Yes. You know, you're an amazing teacher. I know that you care deeply about your students' learning. Don't let these evaluations discourage
So
you.
you did this after like this? This is like what, the second time you did this, or because you have some real good comments compared to mine.
But not all are that great. There are one or two negative comments in between. And what I do is I look at those negative comments and I reflect on my practice. And I try to become objective to determine whether or not that evaluation is a fair one.
Right.
Given what I know about how a student might have engaged in the course.
Right.
You understand? I'm taking the whole picture into consideration.
Okay.
But if there is something in one of those comments that can help me to improve my practice as an educator, then I'm happy to take it on board and to engage in some reflection. And you see, that's where we help each other. So I can come to you and say, John, objectively, we've done some team teaching in the past. And a student made this particular comment. What do you think? And if you agree, how do you suggest I can improve what I am doing? So, I mean, the thing is, I look at it as constructive critique. Some of them are fair, unfair and harsh.
Right, because I'm watching mine and
some of them, you know, anyway, we're not going to get into that now, but some of them are unfair and harsh.
Right.
But those that are objective, we take on board. So I think that we can turn this into a positive. You get lemon, make lemonade.
And I like lemonade.
So do I.
Yeah, I like Moby too, but anyways.
We have any in the fridge today?
I don't know, we should check.
Yes.
You want to go check out?
Let's check.
Yeah, let me do something, man. Even if it's sorrel, they want some sorrel.
I love sorrel.
Okay, so we hope you found that little role play interesting. What would you say is the main issue raised in the role play? Please unmute and anyone answer quickly, please. What would you say is the main issue raised in the role play?
Course evaluation.
Course evaluation, yes. Any other responses? Thank you for that response.
How to promote student satisfaction in spite of doing everything you think is possible.
Exactly. That's also very important. Thank you. So let's look at another question. What is the relationship presented in this scenario that you just viewed? Is it collegiality? Is it peer support? Is it performance evaluation?
Yeah, I think there's
peer support.
Peer support. So we agreed on that. Thank you. I agree. Collegiality could get in there too as a legitimate response. Good. Based on this scenario presented, what approach would you suggest to support John further? Learner analysis, peer observation and feedback, or keeping a teacher's journal? Based on this scenario.
Peer
observation and feedback. Excellent. Thank you. And that's what this orientation is focusing on. And why is it necessary? I would like everyone to type in the chat very quickly one word that comes to mind out of this scenario when we think about peer observation. One word that you think represents, signifies the potential of peer observation for us as practitioners. Everyone in the chat very quickly, 20 seconds. Improving, support, feedback, support, objectivity. This is excellent. Perspective, reflexivity, reflection, Dr. Hill, this is amazing. These responses are amazing. Phrase,
Yeah, it's really
ongoing
exciting to see
professional
that.
development.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Hill, you were
I say it's
saying?
really exciting to see the range of things that's coming out here, the thinking, you know? So that's great.
Yes, that's great. Thank you. Mentorship, modification, development, support. Excellent. Excellent. This is exciting. And I had this. I just want you to listen for about 10 seconds. To me, this signifies what it's all about. I'm sure we're all familiar with this.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrows, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
That's what, in a nutshell, if I were to add my comments to the chat, it's all about peers, leaning on peers to help peers develop, to help us develop. It's about, yes, Dr. Hill, it's about having that critical friend as an observer. And in the role play, mention was made of constructive critique. Constructive critique. So let me get back to the presentation now. Okay, so just getting back to the presentation now. Okay, and moving forward. So thank you for those comments. Now, peer observation and feedback is not something that someone just came up with one morning. It is grounded in research. It is grounded in research. You all seeing the presentation? Or do I have to share it again?
Oh no, we see it.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay. Yes. So it is grounded in research. There are theoretical perspectives concerning it. There's a lot of literature about it. Now, many of us may be acquainted with the big CS, clinical supervision. Peer observation and feedback is not that. It is not clinical supervision in the traditional sense in which a number of us may have experienced it, with someone coming to observe us during a teaching session, a teaching event. Here at the UWI St. Augustine, a peer observation and feedback framework was developed. If you go to the website, CTL's website, I'm going to put the link to this. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and I'd like you to save the link, please. Okay, and in your own time, after today's orientation, you can have an opportunity to view it at length. Some of our participants who are our brand new cutlers for this academic year would already have begun looking at this framework, which gives a very succinct overview of the process of peer observation, shares with you some models. Now, embedded in peer observation is reflection. We at the UWI, at the School of Ed, in the faculty, across the campus, promote, encourage reflection. It is really important. Sean spoke about reflection on action, reflection in action. Reflection is key to our developing our craft as practitioners. And peer observation and feedback is simply peers helping peers to reflect on their professional practice as educators. And as educators, for me personally, the most precious thing for me about being a teacher, all the years that I have taught, and there have been many, is that I can continue to learn. I continue to develop. Here at this center, I am having to engage with technology, try new things. Our director and the guys here continually teaching me something new, and it's fascinating. And lately, I've been thinking too, it's a good way to ward off Alzheimer's. So that's me cracking a really corny joke. All right. But moving on. So please check out the framework after the session. Let's move on. So what is peer observation? Just a quick overview. It is a peer-based collaborative, and as we have already started stressing, non-judgmental scheme. It's designed to provide opportunities for peers to learn from each other's practice. We're promoting, celebrating best practice and learning from each other where that is concerned. It facilitates constructive feedback to enhance the learning experience of students. And someone mentioned in the chat earlier the importance of paying attention to student experience in the learning process. Student engagement, the whole issue of motivation, that is key to teaching and learning in an effective manner. And it promotes reflection, as we mentioned a while ago, and professional development. So why is it considered valuable for faculty? It promotes reflective practice and improve teaching effectiveness, allows us to share best practices, allows us opportunity to provide feedback and support. Lean on each other, lean on me. In the same way that we scaffold our students, our learners, so that they grasp concepts and develop skills and competencies effectively. Similarly, too, we can support each other within our educational environments, and helps us to identify areas for improvement. And I'm really, really appreciative of the opportunity for my colleagues, my director, helping me to identify areas where I can improve as a teacher, as a lecturer, as a facilitator, as a tutor, because it redounds to the benefit of both the learner and the teacher. And ultimately, in the larger context, the university. It would be nice to get into a dialogue about that, but we don't have the time now. So, benefits of peer observation and feedback, some of them at a snapshot. It facilitates professional discussion. Paulo Freire talks a lot about dialogue. It allows for the creation of a dialogic space. Collaboration, teamwork, but not a one-man show. Mr. Duku, what do you always say? Randy?
Teamwork makes dream work.
Teamwork makes dream work. So it's about dream work in the collaborative peer observation and feedback teamwork. Thank you. Coaching and mentoring is also facilitated. Peers supporting peers. And it also allows for interdisciplinary exchange of ideas. So we have another video here that I don't think I am going to get into. I think I'm going to simply share the link to this video later on. And because we're going to lose a whole 10 minutes, 5 minutes here again, because I want you to really get into the breakout rooms and sample with your peers, this pair of observation. So we were talking a little while ago about theoretical perspectives, models. So there's a pair observation cycle. We're looking at the process now. First step, pre-observation. Then you go to the actual pair observation. In this stage here, the first stage, the observer and teacher agree on a focus for the observation. Planning begins to take place before the actual pair observation. During the observation, the observer writes down any information relevant to the agreed topic or area of focus. And then there's a post-pair observation meeting. After observation, the observer and the teacher meet to discuss and reflect on the information collected. This feedback is what creates that loop that the graphic represents. It's cyclical in nature, so that then we might decide, or your peers might decide, okay, you observe that perhaps I could have adjusted my questioning technique in such and such a way, or I could have tweaked my teaching point or particular strategy I used, or maybe my challenge is managing time or class management, or, so there are a number of areas, and we're going to get to some of the possibilities in a little while. So as a way of valuing critical reflection, these phases are conceptualized into stages recommended by ERI 2014. All right, so we just talked about that, where you have step 1, reflect. How can I improve my practice? What have I been seeing in some of the course reviews coming from my students? We have the pre-observation meeting, the actual pair observation, post-observation meeting, and then more reflection. So Dr. Hill can tell you a lot about the reflective practitioner and our colleagues at School of Ed. And some of, maybe all of us can. So reflection is very, very important. There are various models, Gibbs, Brookfield, Morton, Sean. All of these reflection models are useful. Brookfield's is particularly interesting because it also includes the student lens. Brookfield postulates 4 lenses: the self, the students, peers, and he also directs us to the literature, theoretical perspective, scholarship of teaching and learning. All right, so feedback. This is something that is very, very important because we're dealing with personalities. We're dealing with different kinds of persons with different experiences, life experiences. Dr. Hill lately has been telling us about the Johari window. We all have blind spots. Those of us who are psychologists can speak at length about all of these things that make us very interesting and complex in nature as human beings. In a pair or observation, feedback is of critical importance. we're all aware of the process of communication. It's not complete without feedback. So that principle is subsumed. So I came across this ladder of feedback. It was adopted from Wilson and Andrade, the ladder of feedback. So that first they suggest or recommend that we clarify, ask clarifying questions, be sure you understand the idea or matter on the table. Value, I'm tempted to say something else about that, but let me behave myself. Value speaks to expressing what you like about the idea or matter at hand in specific terms. And I remember mentioning in a previous orientation session that this is something that can work in any context, even inside of marriage. Express what you like about the idea. Because as humans, we have a tendency to be critical. Sometimes often before someone is able to get the words out of his or her mouth, we already, and for those of us whose minds work at warp speed, already have formulated a dozen questions. And I have been guilty of that. My sisters tell me all the time. Before they could finish talking, I'm pelting about 5 questions at them. And I had to pull back and look at myself and learn to become more patient. And the process of peer observation and feedback can help us to develop, well, it can help me to develop that skill of learning to get clarification, seek clarification, be sure that what the person has encoded is what I am decoding, what the person is presenting during the pre-observation meeting, I understand fully, that I express value for that person's, for the resource that they represent, their fount of knowledge, expressing concerns. If we're concerned about an aspect of the planned lesson, the proposed lesson, discuss that during the pre-planning session and make suggestions. And that word suggest is powerful, very powerful in my humble estimation, as opposed to simply telling the person and mandating and ordering, but politely suggesting. And we are colleagues in higher education, highly educated, competent persons, and often we all use this word. I'd like to suggest, it's a very diplomatic way of getting your ideas across and sharing knowledge.
Or you
So
could even ask them if you could suggest. Can I suggest?
I love
That
that.
way you're opening
Exactly.
up an opportunity. Yeah.
Exactly. Which is very polite as
Yes.
well. Yes. So yes, thanks for that, Dr. Hill. So I'm not going to go through the engaged feedback checklist. That can be shared with you at a later point. The presentation, Dr. Hill and team, I think will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, CETL's YouTube channel, yes? So persons can come back to this. Dr. Hill?
Yes, sorry about that, I was muted. So the actual
Oh,
presentation, we can share it with all those persons who attended today.
okay.
But the recording is always on YouTube, so we recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay. Thank you for that, Dr. Hill. So moving along, how can we record points for constructive feedback? Now, when you go, you would have gotten the link to the peer observation web page in the CETL website. I'm going to put another link in the chat, and this link will take you to the planning documents. Instruments that you may find useful for the actual planning and execution of the peer observation process. So you'll see two forms when you review that framework document in the peer observation webpage. You'll see two documents that look like this. All right, so in your own time, we encourage you to compare and contrast. I went back and I shouldn't have. So we are at the point of the documents. Right, the documents. Right, these two documents. So you will see that via the link that I just shared with you. So now we want to get into some group activity. I will share with you again the task, but while you are looking at the task, and I'm asking my colleagues to just put us into breakout rooms in the next 30 seconds, you're looking at this. Planning for peer observation, this is the task that you will be doing for the next 10, let's work with 10 minutes. And if you need a little extra time, we can give it, but you're not doing a whole full-blown plan. You're just giving a sense of what you have discussed in your breakout room. So in your breakout rooms, step 1, go to the peer observation webpage on the CETL website. We've already pasted that link. Have a look at the peer observation instruments 1 and 2. We give you 5 minutes to do that. Step 3, create a group peer observation and feedback plan using the pre-observation guidelines indicated in instrument 2. And then when we bring you back, each group will have 3 minutes to present on the plan that they came up with, the beginnings of a plan. We don't have enough time. We just want a sample so that while we're getting ready to go into the breakout rooms, I would like to ask 1 or 2 persons to unmute your mic, to comment, to ask a question. What is going through your mind so far? Do you see value in a process such as this in terms of your personal, professional growth and development? Someone unmute, please. Again, we want to hear your voices. Your voice matters. Nikita?
Hi, morning. So I just wanted to say that, so of course this exists as a formal thing, but it was never put to me this way. But it just makes me remember when I first started lecturing, just a few years now. I remember just being unsure and talking to my mentor, I'm a head of department, and her saying to me, she's like, well, it's okay. If you're really, really worried, you can just ask someone to come and sit in your lectures and give you some feedback. And she never called it this. Right. But yeah, this is what I guess it was. So it just reminded me of that.
Thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure you found the experience helpful.
Yes, it was. So we actually do that sometimes. So a new semester starts, and especially if we've got new lecturers, just come and sit in, and even in our PBL sessions. So what happens is that sometimes new tutors will come in and sit in and just have a look at how you conduct your session, and then you learn from each other.
Excellent. Thank you so much for
never
sharing that. Thank you. Mr. Mohammed, are we ready to put them into groups?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just excuse me, is there a concept of student observation?
Would you care to elaborate, please? Is this new?
I mean,
Dr. Bagwandas?
yeah, like instead of having a peer observe you, if the students could observe you and reflect and give their side of their impressions.
Well, I think you are, Mr. Garcia, are you there? You're hearing this? I know he's busy multitasking, but Mr. Garcia could respond concerning the student side of things in terms of giving feedback on teaching and learning.
Yeah, so in the same video that you shared earlier with
Yes, Javed.
yeah, so you remember the what's his name? He was talking about the course reviews, right? So the course reviews would be that student voice, the student lens. So you could get information from your students by accessing our internal evaluations, right? The student evaluations. Those are always done every semester, and this is why we encourage you to let the students complete it. You know, you let them know that at this time we are distributing the links. Go on and complete that evaluation form. So this is very important. So the student lens is
Yeah,
equally
but
as
would you,
important as the
but you know, with your peer observation process, you have the opportunity to speak and get feedback from your peers, but would you be in a position to have the same kind of discussion with students versus they just filling out a form or
Well,
it may not
objective?
oh, I
it may not
understand. Yes,
okay. So it may
I
not be
understand. Yeah.
in
Sorry, Javed, go
in
on,
my
please.
opinion, Dr. Jones, if you
Yes.
allow me, in my
Yes,
opinion,
please.
it wouldn't be the same level, right? But I don't see why why not? You know, why if you want to get that feedback from your students, you can integrate that in your own space. So you can have students provide that feedback. It doesn't have to be a formal thing, it can be informal. Just like during the teaching process, you have that formative feedback that you get. That will also give you indicators as to what the students are experiencing. You know, so if it is you want to make it more objective, you could give them some guidelines. Here's what I want you to focus on, the way I am teaching this concept, um, and give me some feedback on your thoughts at the end. You know, you could do that. I don't see why you can't do that. But
Excellent.
in terms of our internal process, the documentation that is being shared, I don't think, Dr. Jones, you could correct me, I don't think that is part of it. It's not a requirement.
You're correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. Excellent response. Thank you, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you.
The peer-to-peer and Dr. Bagwandas, thank you so much for that question because it speaks, as Javed also mentioned, to Brookfield's lenses, 4 lenses. There's the student lens as well. What are students thinking? And during the course of any instructional event, and I say instructional in single quotes, event, as Javed rightly says, a teacher could elicit feedback from the students. You're not just questioning to see if they understand the subject matter, but you also can try to gauge, get a sense from them of how they are being impacted during the instructional event. And we're dealing with human beings. This is higher education. We talk about andragogy and about giving students autonomy and valuing the fact that they are adult learners, young adults, older adults, and they bring quite a repertoire of experience and knowledge into the learning environment. And that has to be valued. And that is what the student-centered approach validates, what they bring into the learning scenario, the learning event, and constructing knowledge and experience out of the collective pool of knowledge.
Right,
And I mean, they could go Google all the subject matter and all of that. So what makes what we do that irreplaceable thing? Recently, I heard on BBC something
Doc-
about,
Dr. Jones?
yes, Java, you wanted to say something?
Sorry, no, well, yes, but I just want to remind you that the pre-record room has been launched
Oh,
or opened,
great.
and
Right.
I
So we
don't
can
want to
go.
prevent these who are here in the main session to lose out from time.
Thank you.
Right.
So we can all, you just click, or are they going to be joined automatically? Javed,
No,
you'll send
they
them
need to
in,
join the
right?
room. No, they need to click on the button to join the room.
All right, thank you. So the breakout rooms are ready. Thanks, Javed. Was trying to make up time to get that done. So thanks, Javed. So please go into the breakout rooms. You have your 3 steps to engage in, and we'll then come back in 15. Well, let's see if we can do it in 10 minutes because we want to hear your presentations.
Hi, I think since I joined late, I did not get assigned to a breakout room.
Okay, Mr. Muhammad will assign you.
Thanks, Daniel. You should see the prompt now.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. Thanks, Javed. So I'm going to join the rooms and I'm going to give them, we say thank you. We say thank you with all these different languages, and we invite you to complete the workshop evaluation form. Please, we need the feedback as well. I need the feedback because I continue to learn. And it's about teaching excellence. Dr. Hill is always stressing it's all about teaching excellence. So we thank you for each of your contributions. And as you complete the forms, we wish you a great rest of the day and a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much. Feel free to unmute your mic, if you will, and just to share anything that you want to just say as we close.
Clicking on the evaluation form, Dr. Jones, and it's taking me to Zoom.
Oh, that's my error. Thank you for that. I'm so sorry. I'm going to share it now. Thank you. I apologize. This is the correct link.
No problems.
Right. Thanks for that. Right. This is the link now to the evaluation form. Feel free to unmute your mic. Make any comment as we close, as you complete the evaluations.
I just want to say I enjoyed the session so much. So thank you to the facilitators.
Thank you so very much. And I say a special thank you to you and our team. We're all part of a team here. The dream, what? What is it, Dr. Hill?
The dream team.
The dream works, the dream,
Teamwork
makes the dream work.
Yeah, but we're the dream team. We're the dream team. You all remember the dream team? I don't know if you guys remember the dream team. Basketball.